a seaside playground, the turquoise coast has been left untouched for over a year. The beautiful city of Antalya is steeped in history dating back to 150 BC, famous for the Roman Gate, the Olympus Amphitheatre, and of course, the once bustling marketplaces. Usually a hot spot for tourists seeking culture, seaside adventure, and the odd bargain or two. But not today. Today, Antalya hosts the European Archery Championships, and what a beautiful day we have on this Turkish coastline. The weather has played its part throughout the week here, with lightning earlier in the week actually stopping play. But it's been the wind that's been the feature so far on Compound Saturday. We look down this beautiful 50-metre range. Look up into the skies, they're a little bit grey, but it's 31 degrees. The humidity has come down a little bit here over the past 24 hours. And the wind has dropped right off. Said it's Compound Saturday today. We've done the men's and women's teams. We start this session with the bronze and gold medal matches for the mixed team event before we turn our attention to the individual medal matches. So here are the brackets for the mixed team. We're starting with the bronze medal match. Losing semi-finalists Germany go up against Turkey, and then we will follow that up with Belgium versus Estonia for gold. And the athletes already on their way out. It's time for the compound mixed team bronze medal match between the team from Germany and the host nation team Turkey. Let's go to our stadium announcer to introduce the teams.
On target number 1, representing Germany, Janine Meissner, Tim Rippendorf. On target 2, representing Turkey, Yeşim Bostan, Jakub Yildiz. The line judge of this match is Shabat Todd.
Well, straight underway here for the second session on Compound Saturday here in the beautiful town of Antalya on the coast line in Turkey. Germany line up with Janine Meissner, who's 26 years old and the world number 35, with Tim Krippendorf, who's 22 and the world number 109. Turkey have world number 5, Yeşim Bostan, who's 26 years old, with the teenage sensation Jakub Yildiz, who's just 18 years old and ranked 73 in the world. It will be Yeşim Bostan who will get end number 1 underway. This for the European bronze medal. Good start for Yeşim Bostan. Switches over to Yildiz, the 18-year-old, coming through the Turkish archery factory, looking very promising indeed. Another attempt from him. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me for this compound session is former international Nikki Hunt. Great start from the Turks, Nikki.
On home soil here, they're looking very comfortable, aren't they? Best ranked and seeded at this tournament, so they're definitely the favourites.
Just drifting off to the right. The wind has dropped right off here. Archers will alternate through 4 arrows each, shooting in segments of 2. And we're looking for an overall total score here. The score just accumulates through. They're just falling a point behind halfway through as we switch back over to Turkey.
Didn't look quite happy with that on release. Probably knew that the pin wasn't right in the middle of the target when the release aid went off.
X10. 39.
And you can see the German archer shooting with a bit of a blind, affecting how much vision she can see down the range, so she just focuses down that peep sight and into the scope.
10.
Krippendorf, 22 years old, just starting to show what he's made of. Finishing with a 9, so 2 9s from the Germans. Actually, it was a 10 and a 9 in the end. Janine Meisner's 9 was marked up to a 10. So an interesting start. Look, we got very used to them shooting everything in the yellow. The wind's dropped off. That's the key thing here this afternoon compared to the conditions we saw earlier today.
Yeah, it's much more calm, and you know, in those conditions we would expect the archers to shoot far more 10s, 50 metres on a 80 centimetre face, but it wouldn't be uncommon for the wind to actually change during this match. You know, we're right by the coast, we've got coastal winds that do flip and change, so you know, the archers have got to be ready for that in case that happens.
There's that blind you were talking about. It seems a little bit unusual because of the angle that we're looking at this one from, because it looks like she's blocking out the eye closest to the target.
She's blocking out her left eye. She's probably left eye dominant, so that's taken away her vision of that left eye, so that she has to use her right eye, because if you switched over you'd get a completely different image and you probably miss the target. So it's really important that your dominant eye is the one that's working. Usually that would be the hand that you shoot with. Looks like for her she's shooting right-handed, but she's left eye dominant.
There you go. Scores have been confirmed. We're just waiting to get a final update. We thought it was 38-39. It would seem that it is that way, because Turkey shot first in the first end, and after that the trailing team shoot first. So over to Janine Meisner.
X10. X10.
Each got their own unique process there. Krippendorf getting his hand onto the trigger and releasing almost in one action.
Yeah, we see different types of releases with these archers. You can watch their thumb on that trigger, see if you can see any movement. Jakob shooting a wrist release, so he's using his index finger. Different from the other archers, he's actually put his thumb around the back of his neck for a deeper anchor point.
X10. 4 in a row by the two teams.
Just starting to see the flags rustle a little bit in the wind now.
X10.
Perfect there from Germany, taking them up to 78. But Turkey also on for a perfect score here. So Yesin Boston shoots her second arrow of this second end. She wasn't happy with that.
You could see her shaking, couldn't you? I don't know whether that was nerves or just struggling to get the shot away, but a few shakes there and off into the 8 it went.
into the 9 for Yildiz. So just like that, things have turned around. A 1-point lead for Turkey has turned into a 2-point lead for the Germans, subject to confirmation. The wind has started to pick up. And you say the nerves, and I'm thinking to myself, well, hold on a minute, this is Yes in Boston. This is the world number 5 here. Surely she doesn't get as nervous. She's more used to this, but of course we've had a rather long break from competitive archery.
Yeah, and I think, you know, going out there and being nervous is normal. I think if you're completely flat, then you're probably not doing the right thing with your life, you know. I think when you're excited to be here and it means a lot to you, you come out and you are nervous, and that's completely normal. I think a lot of people think, well, you know, we need to banish all those and never feel a nerve, but no, I think it's completely normal to be nervous. It's all about how you deal with it. Do you see it as excitement, you know, and use it positively, or you know, does it put you off and it's negative? So it's all about how these archers deal with it.
Yeah, not to mention shooting at home at the training centre for the Turkish archers, so you'd think that the great and the good of Turkish archery will be there, albeit the crowd slightly limited by the restrictions that we have in place. So trailing it now as we go into end number 3. Turkey need to pull back 2 points here, Yes in Boston, to get us underway. Still a little bit of a shake there in the arm, but she's pushed it into the 10.
Yeah, she shoots with a slightly bent elbow, doesn't she? And she really powers that through on the execution, so whether we see a little bit more shaking for that reason.
Yildiz, the youngest up-and-coming star for Turkish compounders. Just 18 years old. Turkey on 20 out of 20 so far. Over to Meisner for her first shot of the 3rd.
Look just high of the 10 to me, just out.
Just clipping the line, so we'll get the 10. As you predicted, the Germans' first arrow from Denise Meisner going for a measure, but it's Yildiz's arrow from Turkey that will be measured as well.
Clipping her first arrow there, probably would have been a 10 and deflected down into the 9.
Yeah, but bittersweet there. Good sign of consistency, but clipping her own arrow, just pushing it down 1 score. Solid from Yildiz. Definitely in the 10s there. So a 38, potentially 39 for Turkey. That's definitely in the 9, and that now starts to play a little bit, because a 10 here to get a definite 38, and then we're going down to the measure on 2 arrows. Puts it in the 10, so all square at the moment, but 1 arrow on each team will go to the measure, and of course it could be that both are upgraded, both stay exactly the same, or one is and one isn't. I mean, more important, I suppose, for Turkey, being 2 behind here, that they want their arrow value to go up and the Germans to stay the same, so they close the gap.
Yeah, they could close the gap to just 1 point, so they'll definitely hope that that'll be the case when we return for the next end.
Well, so the Germans will be thinking the other way and saying, well, can we get another opportunity to eke out another point? So not only are the bows all customised in terms of the state-of-the-art equipment. They've also all got their sort of little lucky charms and things over there, and it does seem to be quite a thing in archery, doesn't it? That they all have their own little things on the bows. And
you've got to, it's got to look how you want it to look. There's so many different choices now of colours and everything else, and yeah, people tend to accessorise them a little bit in their own way as well. And yeah, that's important. You spend a lot of time shooting arrows. I think we're one of the sports with the highest number of hours of training. We'll be out there 8 hours a day. It's definitely an endurance training sport.
Yeah, something that gives you some comfort. They're going to make you shoot better. Oh, why not? We've had the measure. We're just waiting for the confirmed scores after 3 ends of archery here.
Another blind you can see on Yasmin's hat as well. Again, perhaps she's closed the eye, opened the eye. She might be left eye dominant, but again, just closing the vision that she can see down the range.
Shot there. So 9 and 10 start for Turkey, who did actually have their 9 upgraded to a 10, whilst the German team stayed on 116. So the upgrade working in favour, the measure working in favour for the Turks.
9 just out.
It's feeling the pressure here. And that is up into the 9. So after 3.5 ends, they are all square. 2 arrows to go here for each team. Effectively, you can call it 0-0. It's who scores the highest over these 2 arrows. Boston dialed in, just holding on a little bit longer. She's found the 10.
A lot of relief in that shot. A lot of, I think, pressure, and you could see her shaking a little bit again, but finding the 10 and just when she needed to.
18-year-old now in the spotlight. Oh, tried to pull that one across. Has that gone into the 8? A big opportunity here. Now, what Krippendorf is going to be thinking is, come on, Janine Meisner, put this in the 10 and give me some breathing room. She looks calm. She's focused, and she has put it into the 10. So, a 9 here is what's required to take the European bronze medal. Over to you, Tim Krippendorf. Time ticking away, but he does what he needs to do. It's a 10-10 finish for Germany, and a 1-5-4 plays out for the bronze here for the Germans. Coming from behind after the first end, Germany have beaten Turkey to European bronze. Well, in the end, it all came down to the last 2 arrows from the 2 teams, and yes, in Boston, perhaps battling a few demons throughout the match, a little bit of nerves, perhaps. Also, perhaps not so used to being out in the competition field, plus being on home soil, being watched by the great and good of Turkish archery. She came through, shot the 10, and it was Yildiz, the teenager, who could forgive his inexperience of just pushing his out to the left. But what a finish from the Germans.
Yeah, it's a shame for Turkey. They were shooting so well, and just to drop that 8 in the last arrow, I mean, they could have cleared up there and then and not given Germany a chance to come back at all. And like you say, it all came down to those last 2 arrows of each team. What a great performance from Germany just when they needed it.
Brilliant stuff. The 26-year-old Janine Meisner teaming up with the 22-year-old Tim Krippendorf have taken archery's European bronze medal here in 2021. beating the home team in Antalya. We take a little look back over this. Bostan wasn't her usual brilliant self, but in the end, she put the arrows down, and Jakob Yildiz, a teenager who'd performed so well, just dropped it on the last arrow. Solid performance throughout by both of the Germans, Krippendorfer and Meisner. Getting a good view at the level there, spirit level on the sight the archers are using.
And just showing an archer checking their fluxions as well, so it's important that none of them become unstuck. If they did, they flop around, create more resistance and drop low, so checking your arrows each and every end.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the others to the field.
Now it's time to go for gold. A European title at stake here. Even the cat has come out to watch this one. Unusual lineup, perhaps, but two great teams. Belgium will take on Estonia for the European title of 2021.
On target number 1, representing Belgium, Sarah Priels, Regina Koos. On target number 2, representing Estonia, Liesel Jaatma and Robin Jaatma. The line judge for this match is Kristina Tifridou. Shooting first will be Estonia on target number 2.
Well, here we have it. There is the cat who's going to try and find a good position to get a good view of this match. Sarah Priels, the 31-year-old, is ranked number 17 in the world, shooting for Belgium along with Reginald Kool's, the 27-year-old world number 105. Shooting first, though, it is Liesel Jaatma of Estonia, 21 years old, world number 56, lining up with Robin Jaatma at 20 years old, and world number 67. This for the European title.
The 9.
Starting with a 9, handing over to her brother. That must be an interesting dynamic, Nikki.
Well, it was interesting as they came through their match beating Turkey. Robin said it was difficult, he made lots of mistakes, but his sister shot really well, so they obviously have a really good relationship together, which is important in these team matches.
Yeah, by contrast, the Estonian run through to this, beating Russia, the Netherlands and Turkey, all great teams. Well, Belgium have beaten Italy, a good team for sure, Ukraine, also a good team, and Germany, but not necessarily the quality that the Estonians have faced.
Yeah, they've done really well to come through and make this gold medal match, so yeah, exciting to see what they can do here.
Yeah, perhaps no pressure though on the Belgian Sarah Priels there, shooting her first 10 for Belgium, following up on her partner Kool's 8. So back to Liesel.
Excellent.
Sharing the points in that 38, both shooting 1-9 and 1-10. Kool's there doing what he needs to keep the Belgians in the running here. Hands over to Sarah Priels. Shot a 10 with her first arrow.
Nine.
Just pulls it over into the 9, but very close in the opening end. 37 plays 38. You've got to think that given the confidence of beating Russia, Netherlands and Turkey makes Estonia the favourites here, but conversely, Prills and Calls, you know, almost, you know, underdogs. They don't necessarily have that much pressure on them.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these teams we see regularly in finals, so for each of them they're probably feeling a bit of pressure being on the stage. Both equal opportunity really to show what they can do. I mean, ranking coming in, Estonia 10th, Belgium 12th, so not much in it in terms of their qualifying earlier in the week. So pretty similar in the standard coming in really.
You see there as Reginald Calls prepares his shot. Prills in the background there, just closing her eyes, focusing on what she needs to do.
Yeah, a bit of steerage on that last shot, just probably aimed a little bit left, trying to pull it across to the right, but just on line to finish.
Leading by 1 point, 38-37.
Just had their stadium announcer confirming there what the score is. No issue there for Sarah Prills with her protective mask.
I imagine it's pretty hot out there, and nice to get them off when you can get to the shooting line and shoot.
Yeah, 31 degrees. It's balmy, that's for sure. So trailing, as they do, by a single point, Belgium will shoot first in the second end.
Hey. Maybe 10.
Potentially subject to a measure, that arrow from Prills. Looked good to me.
Great view of a peep sight there.
9.
Compound archers get to look through those, which makes it all a bit more accurate with the back sight.
Also 9.
Good grouping, so this is where the conversation between the archers is so important. Both gone into the nines, just a bit right, the Estonians. Second arrow from Belgium marked as a 9. That one's gone into the 8. Prills probably want that second arrow measured, but it's not subject to a measure just yet.
Hey.
A quick shot from her to finish on 37 and a 74. So chances here for the Estonians to open up the lead. So they've gained a point provisionally if the score is marked up for their second arrow, but I think the second arrow from the Belgians might well get measured as well.
It was difficult to see, wasn't it? It wasn't quite a clear image from our end here, so let's wait and see what the judges have to say. They'll have to get their magnifying glasses out and make a decision, but if they feel that that arrow has cut the line, it will be the higher score.
Yeah, so we are waiting now for the target judge to make the decision. As we take a look back, might get another look at the target as well and make our own decision where those arrows have landed. That's a lovely close-ups of the equipment used by these archers, and these close-ups actually give you a good insight into the differences in their technique on the draw. Robin Yatma staying very upright as he goes through his draw, whereas his sister actually has a bit of a lean back on her neck as she takes the draw.
Yeah, these compound bows are very heavy initially, so they can be shooting up to 60 pounds, and she's using her body ready to pull it, which from a coaching perspective I'd rather not. Try and keep as straight as you can, but sometimes just to get over that initial cam.
Yeah, compound bows with the pulleys have a bigger weight to pull, and once it gets far past that first pulley then it eases off. As we see, the scores stayed the same halfway through, Estonia leading by a single point. Never quite tell what's going through Sarah Priels' mind.
Doesn't look quite comfortable, does she? I don't think at the moment, but just needs to settle down, keep with the process.
There's a little bit of a reaction there from Lisel Yatma, but gets away with the 9.
That was interesting because he kind of steered it off to the right and it went really far right as well. So whether he just came a bit soft off the shot, so he didn't keep pulling, he's shooting back tension, so he should really keep pulling, but he might have cheated it maybe slightly.
Well, a 2-point shift in the first half of this third end. Now can Belgium capitalise? There's calls with another 10. She almost looks a little disgruntled. Well, why am I here? Why are you forcing me to do this? But it's just concentration on the face of Sarah Priels. Very determined as well. They've secured the lead here with those 2 10s. So now it's damage limitation time for the Yatma brother-sister combination. Ooh, close, but I think that is going to be a 10. Scorer not so convinced, marked it as a 9, subject for a measure. Wind just picked up a little bit. That's a good recovery from Robin Yatma. So provisionally on a 1-1-1, 2 points behind, having gone into that end leading by a point. I think they will get marked up to 1-1-2, but it's still a 2-point shift in favour of the Belgians, just at the right time, Nikki.
Yeah, it's exactly what they needed to take advantage of Estonia dropping that 8 and 9 in the first half of the end. Got to put the pressure back on them, and they did. The judge has to say here.
Scores have been confirmed because the agents are pulling the arrows from the targets. We see that it is 1-1-3 for Belgium. And it is 1-1-2 for the Estonians. So could have been a 2-point lead for Belgium, but Estonia will be glad it's just a 1-point lead. Can they swing this one back in the 4th and final end? It just is a little touch of the wind as well.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency of it. Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes there's a bit of a breeze, so you've just got to, really be aware of what's going on.
And do you think that's what the issue was with that wild right? The one that Robin Yatma pulled further right?
I think that 8 that he had, to me it looked like the shot just went a bit soft, so instead of pushing and pulling, you saw his arms both sort of come inward, losing that pressure. So he is shooting a back tension, but whether he just kind of wrenched it around to make it go off instead of using his back, it's possible.
Well, Belgium have edged themselves ahead going into this final end. A gold medal at the European Championships at stake for the mixed team tournament on Compound Saturday. Lascelles and Robin Yatma of Estonia had led from the start, but now are behind and will shoot first in the fourth.
Nine. 10.
Didn't look happy with that, but he's got the 10 out of it. So just dropping a point here. Opportunity for Belgium to ease the pressure a little bit with 2 10s.
10.
They can shoot their arrows into either target face in any order that they wish, as long as there's 2 arrows in each target face by the end. She knew, didn't she, immediately something had gone wrong there. There's 2 points they really didn't want to drop in the now tied score.
Well, here we are again. We're down to effectively 0-0, and it's what they can score out of the maximum 20 left for each of them. A long hold from Lascelles Yatma. Oh, she's dropped that into the 8. Pressure now on Robin Yatma, her brother, to put something right in the middle of the target, to put some kind of pressure on the Belgians. Does shoot it into the 10, so 18 in the last 2 arrows for Estonia. Can Belgium top that?
Just looking so nervous there. Lots of twitching, lots of movement out into the 8.
Yeah, so the opportunity created the tension there. Sarah Pril's just a little bit more experience. A 10 to draw level. Oh, she does get the 10. An 18 apiece for the pair of them in the last 2 arrows for each team when they were all square. And Sarah Pril's original calls have forced a shoot-off between them and Lascelles and Robin Yatma. We've been waiting for one, and here it is, a shoot-off for the European title.
Absolutely love a shoot-off. So what we're going to see now is each team shooting 1 arrow each. First of all, we'll go by score, see who scores the most out of those 2 arrows. But if we again have a tie, say they both get 2 10s, then it will go to the closest arrow to the middle. And Estonia came through, beating Netherlands in the quarterfinals. They went to tie-break then, and they both got 20-20 each. They were just closer. So we already know they've had this experience, they've done it before out here on this field. Can they do it again?
Yeah, good point there about the Netherlands shoot-off. Experience does play its part in sport, and having come through the semi-finals in a shoot-off that went to a measure, while Estonia is still in the box seat. But you've got to say, favourites coming into the final, but Priels and Calls have held on and forced the shoot-off. You know, they might be thinking, well, hold on, it's just 2 arrows now.
I think the psyche here swing is with Belgium, because I think they felt they probably lost it, and then they had the opportunity to come back and force the tie. So I think they've got that swing in positivity at the moment. They're looking slightly more relaxed about things. You know, they're still in the game. They thought they were gone. So let's see if they can take that confidence with them into this shoot-off.
Estonians looking pretty relaxed too. Target faces. I think they might even be having a chat between them there. How could the European title come down to this? Just 4 arrows, and look, hey, the wind's come to join the party as well. We've had cats, we've had birds flying around, we've had the odd insect as well, and now the wind's come up to join the party with Calls, Priels, and the 2 Yatmas. The European title about to be settled in a shoot-off in the mixed team event, and oh, Lisel Yatma, so keen to get off the line, nearly went too early and got herself a yellow card. We're settled in. First hour of the shoot-off, out wide to the left and a 7, and the disappointment clear for all to see. We're alternating in the shoot-off, so we hand over to Reginald Cools of Belgium, and look at that wind blowing behind him. Right in at the centre there, getting the 10. Back over to the Estonian line, and now it's Robin Yatma's turn. His sister shot a 7. He's got it in the 10. Now, an 8, a clear 8, will give the European title to Belgium. Sarah Priels, what have you got on offer for us? Very quick and straight into the X. A clear win for Belgium. They are the 2021 European champions. Nikki, you called it. The momentum was with the Belgians. They'd held on throughout to get there. Some emotion being shown there from certainly from Sarah Priels. Respectful fist bumps all around from the Estonians straight away. Clearly they'll be disappointed, but you called it. Momentum with the Belgians.
Yeah, I think, you know, they felt they probably had lost it at that point, trailing into the final couple of hours there, and yeah, they just came back and they were so relaxed and happy. That's the first time we really saw Sarah Priels smiling and, you know, jovial just before that shoot off, and I think she was just in a much more relaxed space to be able to go out there, especially with that 7 from the Estonians to start us off. That just really took the pressure off them.
Yeah, you got to feel for Lisel Yatma here. She shot so well, and they must have done a pair of them to beat Russia, Netherlands and Turkey to get to this final. And then the pressure of the final just getting to them in the end. But Sarah Priels, what looks grumpy is actually full focus concentration from her, and that is what you get as a result of staying focused right the way through. The opportunity to celebrate with her teammate Reginald Cools. They're the European champions. Absolutely brilliant stuff. You can see those once settled flags, just what, 25 minutes, half an hour ago, are now starting to flutter again. The mixed team medals have all been sorted, and we will be moving on from the team competitions in this session to the individual medal matches coming up very, very soon. Don't see many of them these days. Aeroplane coming in to land by the looks of things in Antalya. And if you look around, especially down at the end of the field, well, hold on, just before we get back to that, let's go and speak to the champions.
Okay, congratulations. You were the 12th seed and now you are the winners. You're the European champions. How does it feel?
Feels great. You know, it was fun to shoot the final. The shoot-off was really exciting and we did well as a team.
Great, you were the 12th seed and you came from behind. And what's it like to come from behind? Did you think you had a chance to win?
Qualifying doesn't really matter in the end. You know, you just have to shoot good matches and beat every opponent by a point. Doesn't really matter where you qualified.
Great, and what does this mean for your partnership going forward? If you could please answer the question.
Yeah, it was great to shoot with Sarah together, and yeah, I'm super excited that we won these championships.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
Well, very matter-of-fact, Sarah Priels. It doesn't matter about qualification. What, of course, she's referring to is the 1383 they shot between them that made up their ranking of 12. And, of course, Estonia were just 10th. Estonia coming through Russia, Netherlands and Turkey. And Priels just saying, well, once you've got through that qualification, all you have to do is beat your opponents by 1 point.
Qualifying for show, eliminations for dough.
Very good. She's full of them, Nikki Hunt. But it's now time for the victory ceremony in the mixed team event here at the European Championships. It's been a fine day. There's been some surprises throughout Compound Saturday. I guess it's no surprise here in Antalya that the conditions have played their part. But in the end, it was a fairly settled final. Pretty even, 1 or 2 gusts of wind. Belgium coming out on top. So the last of the compound team medal ceremonies.
Medals will be presented by Mr. Hüsnü Kocaoğlu, Vice President of Turkish Archery Federation. Bronze medal representing Germany.
So getting bronze here in Antalya is Germany. 26-year-old Janine Meisner and a 22-year-old Tim Krippendorf. A bit of a disappointment to the host nation, who they beat in the bronze medal playoff.
Silver medal representing Estonia.
Favourites coming into the gold medal match, but they were pipped at the post. Brother and sister Estonian teammates Lizelle and Robin Yatma collect the silver medal.
Gold medal and European champion representing Belgium, Sarah Peels, Reginald Cole.
Well, they played the game well throughout here. A surprise perhaps, but certainly both very good archers and kept their cool right the way through, and the temperament was great in the shoot-off. It's Sarah Preels and Reginald Coles of Belgium who are this year's European champions. And I'm sure they'll be proud as they listen
Ladies
to
and
their
gentlemen,
anthem.
please stand for the national anthem of Belgium. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause.
There we have it, the medal ceremony done for the mixed team here on Compound Saturday. Belgium, top of the pile from Estonia and Germany.
Congratulations.
Had their photo op already. And we will be turning our attention very shortly to the individual matches. Let's have a look at things finished up here at this year's European Championships. Sarah Preels and Reginald Coles of Belgium taking the European Championship title from Estonia. Germany beating Turkey to the bronze medal. Take a look back on that. Estonia, well, starting so well in the 9s and 10s through the first 2 ends, having the lead at the halfway stage. But it was Preels and Coles who turned it around in the third. Halfway through the final end, the two teams could not be separated. Came down to those 2 arrows at the end, both shooting 18s, forcing the shoot off. And in the end, it was Sarah Preels who put it in the X, following on from her teammates' 10. And it meant that Belgium climbed on top of the European Championship podium here in Antalya. A brilliant performance from Belgium. So far, we've got the individual medal matches coming up very shortly on Compound Saturday. And now it's time for the individual compound women's medal matches. We take a look at the draw. Tanya Gelantine, on the form of her life, coming through the top of the draw, will face Ella Gibson in the gold medal match. But first up, it's the losing semi-finalist, Sanne de Laat of the Netherlands against Sarah Preels of Belgium. Well, wind has been a factor here today as the athletes come out for a bronze medal final on Compound Saturday for women. Lineup of Sanne de Laat and Sarah Preels as Netherlands take on Belgium. It's time for the athletes to be introduced here in Antalya.
On target number 1, representing the Netherlands, Sanne de Laat. On target number 2, representing Belgium, Sarah Preels. Line judge for this match is Clement Cesar. And shooting first will be on target number 2, Sarah Preels.
Well, here we go. It's Sarah Preels of Belgium, the world number 17 at 31 years old, who will take on the world number 32, Sanne de Laat, who's the 26-year-old Dutch archer. Interesting route to this bronze medal match, especially for Sarah Preels, who took out Avdieva of Russia and Bostan notably in the knockout stages. So she's had to battle her way through some tough opponents. Highest score so far in those rounds, 145. Goes up against Sanne de Laat, who had Niyazeva and then lost out to Gelantine in the semi-finals, but also her maximum is only a 144 in the knockout tournament. Preels to get the bronze medal match underway.
8.
Nikki, the pace changes a little bit here, doesn't it? Arrows alternating between the two archers.
Yeah, we're going to see 5 ends, 3 arrows per end, raw score.
9.
So archers just having 20 seconds to shoot each arrow.
9, maybe 10.
Well, that second arrow from Sanne de Laat, I think will go for a measure. Very close. That's in the 10. So slowly but surely getting better for Preels on a 27 out of 30. You
can see her thumb wavering on the trigger. The wind's hitting her now.
Oh, that looks like a 10 to me. Now, it doesn't look like they're going to even consider measuring that, but I think when the target judge gets down to the end, sounded like second arrow, they will have a look at that.
They'll always have a look, because obviously the agent for that archer will go down and have a look at it, call what they think it is, and then if the opponent objects, their agent objects, then the judge will come in and make that final decision.
You get a good view down this 50-meter range, even in slow motion. The arrow is travelling pretty quick. And you can see the buffeting there that Sandalat was taking for a final arrow. She's actually quite happy with the way that panned out. Look at the difference, those flags. And actually, the flags, if you look at them, on the white ones are blowing one way, and the blue ones look like they're fluttering in a different direction. So the wind is changeable wherever you are, wherever you're standing.
It's a really interesting field. Down the right-hand side of them, there's a big hedge. Obviously, you can see the stadium in the distance, which the wind can lap around there as well. So things change. We're also right next to the coast, so they've got to be aware of what's going on.
We return to the shooting line here, and it will be Sarah Preels who will shoot first in the second end.
Much steadier arrow. You just saw her thumb come onto the trigger, and she just kept going with the execution straight into the X. So Preel's just not having a good time.
Lovely stuff from Sandalat. She didn't get that arrow marked up in the second. And look at it, she's come back out fighting and saying, we'll mark those 10s down. It's a 10 to finish for Preels, another 27 for her, so 54 total. Chance for a big lead here. Got it. Perfect by the looks of things. A 30 takes to 58 and a 4-point lead after 2. Now what was going on there? She's handed an arrow back to her coach.
I have a feeling that had a broken knock on it, so in the end before perhaps, or maybe from the practice ranges have come across, because they probably haven't had their arrows back yet. She probably smashed a knock, probably got out of a quiver we didn't see, dropped it on the floor because it just wouldn't fit properly, so it's important your knocks are in good condition.
For those of us that don't know archery vernacular, what is a knock?
So at the very end of the arrow, hers are black, little plastic, literally a knock. So it clips into the knocking point, the bit that clips into the string between the D loop that you can see on the string there.
It's the back of the arrow, right?
Yeah. Not the pointy bit.
Not the
end.
Not the pointy bit. Not the bit that goes into the target. The other end.
The bit that goes on the string.
And it clips into the string. Yeah. So obviously, if that's broken, it's not going to hold. The string's not going to hold the arrow neatly enough so that when you release it, it's going to go. It's going to veer off.
Or it could fall off altogether at full draw. So it's really, really important you check your knocks.
There we go. A massive lead for Sandalat in this bronze medal match. She's 4 points ahead, and Sarah Preels at the moment is all at sea. Straight into a hole she made with her last arrow, straight into the 10, same spot.
That's a bit better, isn't it? 2 absolutely touching in the X-ring. So the X-ring scores 10 still. It just determines that that was a little bit closer, and it's only really relevant in the qualification round.
It's 2 9s for Sandalat. So that's 2 of the 4 points gained back already by Sarah Preels. That determination is incredible, but the wind catching her there. I think she's got away with a 29 in the end on that one. So 83 for Preels. Just pushed it wide to the left. So the 4-point lead that once was for Sanderlat has been halved in one end. 2 to go. So if this carries on in the same direction, it's going to be a bronze medal for Sarah Preels.
If only there was that pattern through every, end.
You know I love a pattern, Nikki. You know I love a pattern.
Yeah, the problem is the pattern isn't there with the wind. So the wind's doing what it wants, and that is the dictator, I think, of this afternoon shooting.
You're quite right. That shot there gives us a good view of the flags on the left-hand side, both blowing in the same direction down at the target end. That white, blue, black, yellow flag sock, wind sock at the end. And they're too close together because one's set up for the recurvers, who will be in action tomorrow, and the nearest one to us is set up for the compounders. But what's interesting is seeing those. Not very often through this week have those two socks been flying in the same direction, even though they're only 10-15 metres apart.
Yeah, I think because the wind hits the back of the field, perhaps swirls around, and there's a difference.
Well, here we go into end number 4. Preels on a fight back. She's closed the gap to just 2 points. Can the momentum stay with her?
Nine.
Looked like she was getting buffeted by the wind a bit, but hung on and clawed out a 10 from that.
Yeah, she stayed with it on that one. Her thumb remained on the trigger all the time, where we saw the end, I think the first end, she really got buffeted around and, even decided to take a thumb away from the trigger, so she really improved on that one. Oh, see again there, just coming away. It's the wind hitting her. She's just thinking, right, hold on a little bit longer. Got to start that process. 2, 1.
Wow, great from her. It's interesting how the contrast in the way they're dealing with the wind. Preels just seems to want to get out there, line up, and get the arrow out of the bow as quickly as possible, finishing with a 9 and on 111. So chance for redemption here and getting back a 4-point lead with another 10.
It just keeps taking the thumb off the trigger. Keep it on there, you've got to go.
Well, ending up with a 29, and despite the long and agonising waits, I think it's put years on Nikki Hunt sitting next to me. The Dutch athlete Sanderlat has reopened her lead, not quite to 4, she's just 3 ahead now. You really don't like those long holds, do you? And you're particularly mentioning about the thumb trigger.
What you can see with her shot is that she's literally taken a thumb off when it gets windy. I think she's trying to shoot with back tension. I think she's trying to lay her thumb on there and just keep pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. But when it gets really windy, she just loses her confidence with it, removes her thumb. She's only got 20 seconds to shoot. She can't afford to be stood there at full draw for seconds on seconds on seconds, getting tired in the wind. That's not somewhere you want to be, whereas Preels is shooting this completely differently. I think Preels is just deciding, I'm going to punch this now because it is windy. I need to deal with this, and they're both dealing with it very differently.
Yeah. Bit more experience, Sarah Preels at 31, Sanderlat's 26. But at the moment, even though Preels edged her way back into this match, in that last one, Sanderlat reopened her lead to 3. We go into the 5th. Preels trailing by 3, with European bronze at stake, will shoot first.
9.
Well, it's tough for Preels here because that 3 points remains the gap, and they're just down to 2 arrows each. Good bit of pressure from Preels with the 10.
Bit of a punch there, but it worked for her. Thumb on, thumb off, thumb on, thumb off. Hard to say. Just get your thumb on there. Dicing with the time, isn't she?
Yeah, the coach counting down there. Preels has got 1 back here. Another quick arrow straight into the 10. So really now putting the pressure on. The 9 required for the win. Sandalat, you need to get this one out. It is a quicker arrow, and look at the result. Into the 10, and it's a 142, plays 140. And what a sigh of relief from the world number 32, Sandalat of the Netherlands, who's just taken the European bronze medal, beating Sarah Preels of Belgium, 142 to 140. Wow, Nikki. Seriously, for those of you watching at home, you can't see Nikki, but she's under a huge amount of stress. She wants to go down there and tell Sandalat, stop holding on to the arrow at full draw.
She just made that such hard work. She was up there for most of the 60 seconds of that last end. Sarah Preels was just punching them off quickly and making her work really hard for it. And you see that massive sigh of relief at the end there when she came off the line. I felt the same.
Yeah, it was huge sigh of relief, but a real contrast in the way that she shot that last arrow. She just got out there, and I think she said to herself, I've just got to get this one out there. She must have heard you, and she released it much quicker than she had done for the previous 5 arrows. Sarah Preels did have a fight back midway through that match, but Sandalat is the deserving and relieved bronze medal winner here at the European Championships. We look at Preels, it was all at sea at the beginning, wasn't she? She really struggled at the beginning of this match, couldn't find her rhythm. And then as we drew to the end, she really did start, as you were saying, punching the arrows in.
Yeah, she just got more confident with it, thought, right, you know what, I've got to do this, I've got nothing to lose here. And she did the best she could. There's just too many mistakes, I think, at the beginning of the match for her.
Sandalat. Another one of her long holds. Get a great view of that arrow flying down. Bronze done. It's now time for the compound women's gold medal match with the European title at stake. Ella Gibson of Great Britain will be on target number 2. And she goes up against the in-form archer of 2021 in this division, Tanya Galantine.
Tanya Galantine. On target number 2, representing Great Britain, Ella Gibson. The line judge for this match is Katerina Konchalova.
Well, here we go. This for the 2020/2021 European Championship title. Tanya Galantine of Denmark on target number 1 will shoot first, and she's the world number 3, just 25 years old. Ella Gibson on target number 2 is 20 years old and the world number 27. First time we've seen Gibson out on the podium this season. It's the 3rd time we've seen Galantine going for gold, and she starts the match. Gibson, rising youngster in the British ranks, drops into a 7 to get things off. Not really what she was looking for in terms of a start against the Belgian talent of Tanya Galantine.
More like it from Ella. That's going to settle her down. She's back in the middle.
So the start we've come to expect from Tanya Galantine, winning in Lausanne at the Hyundai Archery World Cup. Another 10 from Ella Gibson, mitigating the damage of the 7 that she scored as a sighter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you're involved in the British setup. I haven't seen this British coach before. I'm sure he's a new guy to the British team, isn't he?
You can find that's Mr. Slosher himself, Mr. Perfect.
He's changed allegiances. He's not shooting for Great Britain now, is he?
Well, the coach in the box has to have the same uniform on as the archer, so he's donned the GBR shirt to stand behind Ella in this match. He doesn't coach Ella. He has helped her before and gave her some advice before she set an indoor world record, I believe. So they've had a bit of communication before, but like I say, he doesn't actually coach her.
Yeah, of course, we were talking about Ella Gibson, who's trailing Tanya Gelantine, who's had a cracking season. But the British team have travelled light to this competition for obvious reasons. We know what those are all about. And so Mikey Schlosser kindly has stepped into the box to give Gibson some coaching. She trails by 2 as we start end number 2.
10. 10.
Well, good arrow from both of them to start this second end.
9.
Just a little bit of movement there.
Yeah, I think most of her arrows going right. Look at the wind now on the flags on the target, pushing to the right. Ella gone right as well.
Back into the 10s for Gelantine, though, and now that 2-point lead moves on to 3. Nikki, we talked about Ella Gibson after the first end. Let's talk about Gelantine's season. It's been a brilliant turnaround for her. Clearly, she's got married to Braden Gelantine, the US archer, and well, if anything, she's got better than she was before, and she was pretty good before.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen her, haven't we, at the first and second stages of the World Cup this year, making the gold medal match both times. I think it was her third appearance we saw in Lausanne, and finally converted that into the gold medal for the first time. And she said after that match, you know, what a relief it was that she'd finally broken it and managed to get that gold medal. And, you know, coming into this match, I'm sure she's got that confidence with her. So, you know, can she make it 2 golds in a row?
Yeah, and with that, you know, serious improvement in form, she probably came into this tournament as one of the favourites, along perhaps with a couple of the Turkish archers and maybe even a couple of the French archers. But to carry that weight of expectation is pretty impressive.
Definitely, she's pushing for world number 1 at the moment.
Well, Ella Gibson's got a fight on her hands here. After 2, she is down by 3 points. Into the 10s, though. She's got something about her, Ella Gibson, that suggests that she might be climbing the ladder as well here. European silver guaranteed for the British archer, but up against the in-form archer at the moment.
Not far away, just both slightly high. Just need to adjust her sight, get them back down into the 10.
9.
Fancy the wind is playing its part again. And again, it's not very blustery, the adjustment there. Just a little bit over the top, but another 28 to finish on an 83 after 3 for Gibson. Not bad shooting.
10.
And then you're up against a 29 from Gelantine. That gap just keeps growing. It's now 4 points.
Yeah, she's got this lovely little patch, isn't she, just on the right of the X-ring line, and everything's really to the right for her. I wish she'd move her sight over a little bit and really centralise that group, because you never know with these line cutters, it really could make a difference where the group is centred. But yeah, Ella's been shooting now full time for quite some time. She decided in 2019 to go full time as an archer and not go into university or anything at that point. And she's continued that through the pandemic. Worked really, really hard, and you know she's shooting some of the best stuff she's done now. She's really works hard on her equipment. She does a lot of tuning, so little fine adjustments to all sorts of parts of her equipment. So testing vanes, for example, she'll shoot thousands of arrows to make sure she's making the right decisions with her equipment.
Yeah, well, it's clearly worked here. She's competing for a European title on her own individually. which is something pretty special. Not many archers will get that opportunity. And she looks pretty philosophical about her shooting at the moment. She's not too worried about the overall score. I think she probably knows she's the underdog here. She's trailing by 4 up against the class act at the moment, Tanya Gelantine. But Gibson to go first.
Ten. Ten.
She listened to you, Nikki. She's moved that one over to the left for the first time.
It's good to see.
10.
I love this from Mikey. Yep, we see that all the time. Don't we hear that in their team, and Ella's getting that as well. That's positive reinforcement behind her. Yep, that's a 10.
I think it's as Gibson improves her performance, on for a perfect here. Just dropping into the 9s for a 29, a best 3 arrows on 112, just as she's climbing. Look at what Gelantine does, and the grouping there is just phenomenal. Her first perfect, and again moves on by another point, just eking out this victory. I mean, she's got to be careful, hasn't she? I was nearly called a Jensen, Tanya Gelantine. She's got to be really careful here in that she can't lose that focus, she can't lose that concentration, and perhaps that win in Lausanne has given her that additional bit of experience that you need.
Yeah, you've really got to stay in the present. What can happen at this point is your brain starts to tell you, oh, you could win this. Oh, you know, we're ahead here.
Or I've won it.
Oh, yeah, I've won it before. But you just got to stick to the present. Each and every arrow that you shoot, just keep your mind on that. Have your mental routine that you go through. Stick with those thoughts every single time. Don't let it get ahead. And it can, and that's normal. Those thoughts might come in, but replace them with what you want it to be.
Yeah, it's an important lesson for everyone that you can get to a yard from the finishing line. You still need to take those final few steps. Impressive performance by Ella Gibson, but she really is up against the in-form archer. I think Gibson will be hoping there is a little bit of a hiccup from the Dane. It will be Gibson to get the final end underway.
Yep, very nice.
10. 10.
Just spectacular from both archers here. Gibson back on for her first perfect. Would be a great finish to this final for her. Just pushing it out to the left for another 29. So 141. The European champion in waiting is the European champion, finishing off with back-to-back perfect, another 30, and Tanya Gelantine is the 2021 European champion.
147 points with 2 30s in the last 2 ends.
Right, we talked about Gibson and how good she's done and how well she's done, but Gelantine really has been the European champion in waiting. She was the favourite coming into this tournament, and she's held off all the expectation. She's carried all that stress with her. She's managed it, and she's taken the title pretty much at a canter, I say, but shooting so well. 3 9s out of 15 arrows. It's incredible.
She just got better and better through that match. 29, 29, and 30, 30, 30. Sorry, 29 3 times and 2 30s. But, she looked better. She was hitting more X's. She was nearer the centre of it as well. Her confidence now is just growing, and I think, we've got a real contender for the World Cup finals there.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. World Cup finals, of course, will be her next target in mind. Ella Gibson, though, she shot so well to make the final, And she did herself proud of the final. She didn't collapse under the pressure that Galantine was putting her under. I think she almost went into it saying, it's going to be very tricky to beat her. Let me get my best possible score. And hey, let's get some chap that I know from the Netherlands to come and help me out.
Yeah, it's just a shame with the first arrow, perhaps a bit of nerves in the stadium or a tweak on the site. But she will have learned so much from that experience. We're going to see more of Ella. She works really hard. She's going to be a contender of the future.
She certainly is, but the European title is with Tanya Galantine. Let's go and hear what she has to say.
Congrats, Tanya. Another great result for you, European champion. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I was shooting really well this morning, so I was just hoping I could take it on there to the finals field. I knew it was going to be a little windy and a little tricky, but I'm really happy with how it came out.
Yeah, finishing with 6 straight X's in the wind. How are you able to do that?
I wanted it really badly, I guess. It's just I worked a lot on my shot and what to do in matches like this, and I'm really happy that I can actually do it when it comes down to it.
Yeah, great executing by you. 3 finals this year, 2 wins in a row. What's going on?
Nothing. I'm just shooting great. I took advantage of COVID and practiced hard, and yeah.
All right, well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Practiced hard. I mean, it's easy to say, but it does work. Practice makes perfect. She's so humble as well. You know, I'm shooting well. What's going on? The interviewer said, I'm shooting well. Yeah, she's shooting well, but practice is what made this.
Yeah, there's been winners and losers, isn't there, in COVID, and I think for her, she's probably lost a lot of distractions, been able to really focus on her training. Perhaps she's probably been out in America there, where they've probably got plenty of space to go and train outdoors on the range, and she's used that time wisely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the
well, victory ceremony time for the compound women here in Antalya at these European Championships. Parade out pretty quickly after they finished the gold medal match. A few spectators in the crowd as we start to ease the restrictions that have been in place around the globe. It's good to see that here in
presented
Antalya.
by Mr. Vladimir Yesheyev, first Vice President of World Archery Europe.
Presentation team ready.
Bronze medal representing
Bronze
the
medal
Netherlands.
goes to
Ella.
a very relieved Sandelat of the Netherlands. Going into the competition, world number 32. The 26-year-old has collected a European medal, a bronze one at that. After a nervy bronze medal match against Sarah Kriels of Belgium. Rising star of the British archery setup, Ella Gibson. Looks like she's been practicing hard during the lockdown in the UK. She's come out and got herself a silver medal at the European Championships at the age of just 20.
Representing Denmark, Tanya Galantine.
She is the form archer of the lot at the moment, being in every major final in 2021 in her division. And now the European champion, it's Tanya Galantine of Denmark. Let's celebrate with her national anthem.
The national anthem of Denmark. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to our athletes. Leaving the field.
Well, there we have it, the podium. Galantine on top for Denmark, from Gibson of Great Britain, and De Laat of the Netherlands. European archery medalists have done their work here on Compound Saturday. Still, men's individual to conclude. But let's take a look at the final rankings for that women's competition. Tanja Gelantine proving that her form is here to stay. Denmark takes the European title from Ella Gibson. Sander Latt beating Sarah Preels, the Dutch archer, taking bronze. Take a look back over that final. Nikki, really stunning form from Gelantine. She just looks, I'm not going to say she looks a different archer, she just looks a lot more confident than we've seen her from before.
Yeah, that win we saw in Lausanne at the World Cup 2 weeks ago really did, I think, just give her that confidence that she can take the gold medal in these matches.
Raising her bow high. A few tears in the eyes. She had an issue with her mask as well just before giving a hug to Ella Gibson, but got that fixed before coming out to collect her gold medal and stand on top of the podium here in Turkey. Tanja Gelantine, taking her first World Cup stage win in Lausanne a couple of weeks ago, is now the European champion. Coming up soon, it will be the men's individual medal matches. Well, it's time for the men's individual. Coming through the top of the order, it's the Pole, Łukasz Probisky, and he will face Jakub Yildiz, the teenage sensation from Turkey, for gold. First up, though, the bronze medal match, Probisky against Krippendorf, followed by that gold medal match between Fullerton and Yildiz. As you can see, Probisky losing at the top to the Dane. We've got a thrilling gold medal match between two teenagers coming up at this European Championship Compound Saturday. But Łukasz Probisky, he loves Antalya, and he's here in another medal match, the bronze, up against Tim Krippendorf, a youngster from Germany, for the bronze medal. We are just waiting for them to come through. Łukasz Probisky, 27-year-old Pole, may well be the odds-on favourite for the first match, the bronze medal match. We've seen the swallows flying around the range here in Antalya. That is Jakub Yildiz, the 18-year-old, who will be coming out a little bit later on, just on the practice range, getting his eye. Look very relaxed indeed. They obviously know the cameras are on them. Turkey haven't had the best tournament here at these European Championships on home soil. And they'll be looking to maximise on Jakub Yildiz making it through to gold. Now it's time for the compound men's bronze medal match. Łukasz Probisky from Poland against Tim Krippendorf of Germany.
On target, #1, representing Poland, Łukasz Probisky. On target, #2, representing Germany, Tim Krippendorf. Line judge for this match is Javad Tol.
So world number 24, Łukasz Pawelski, he's 27 years old, from Poland, on target number 1, faces the world number 109, Tim Krippendorf, the 22-year-old from Germany. And we know that Pawelski loves Antalya, don't we?
These guys met here earlier in the year, and Łukasz was the winner. Oh no, it wasn't. Tim.
No, he lost to Krippendorf in the semi-finals, that's right. Went on to take the bronze though, Pawelski. And it will be Krippendorf who will get us underway. Straight out with a 10. Early stages of this bronze medal match, Nikki. I think we've mentioned this before. Pawelski wears his bins, his binoculars, around his neck when he's shooting. Now, to me, that seems very bizarre. You don't see. I don't think I've seen any other archer doing that on the medal stage. Is that just because he's used to it?
Yeah, it's unusual outdoors. We do see it indoors, and we do see it on field rounds, for example, where a different discipline of archery, but not many target archers use binoculars, most using a spot and scope usually.
10.
Well, the sighter from Pawelski has been upgraded to a 10. Krippendorf actually dropped a point on his second arrow, but look at the grouping, very good. 29. That'll give the German a lot of confidence. Pawelski spraying his arrows a little bit wider. I mean, say that we're zoomed quite close to the target there, but certainly a better start from the German.
Yeah, so obviously, him winning in that semi-final, having the confidence perhaps here that he knows he's beaten this competitor before, it's going to put him in a good place, I think, mentally.
In the quarterfinal, Evren Çağıran from
twist on the peep sight, just to line that
beaten by
up.
1 point in the semi-final by Danish archer Mathias Fullerton, who will be in the final later.
Get a good look at the grip on the bow there. Get some lovely close-ups here of the intricacies of the equipment. Krippendorf coming through that first end with a 2-point lead, and there are those binoculars I was talking about. He shoots wearing those in practice, or perhaps when he's practicing another form of archery. He's just got used to them being there, so he'd feel strange without them, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't really need them here because there is a big screen over to their right, and I think his coach will probably have, can't quite see, he should have he's also got binoculars, so you know he can tell him where the arrows have gone as well, but he can stand there between the ends and have a look.
Yeah, it's again highlight of how this sport is individualized. You have to shoot the way you want to shoot. Trailing by 2, Pawelski will get end number 2 underway.
10.
Just a little bit of movement there. Was that perhaps why he was holding on?
Yeah, we see the flags moving a little bit as well, so it might have been shuffled in the wind.
9. 10. 10.
So a better score for the Polish archer, 29, and that gives him a 56. Chance here for a 3-point lead though.
9.
Just put it into the 9. So it's a 2-point lead maintained by Tim Krippendorf of Germany. And this is for the European bronze medal. Nikki, you talk about technique, you talk about the release aids as well, and if you look at these two archers, they've got what looks like fairly similar release aids, but actually the positioning of the hands is quite different. Perhaps when you get a view of that, you'll be able to see it. But it is working. It's a smoother action from the German at the moment.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sort of imbalance, I think, when the shots go off for Łukasz. You can sort of see a change in the front and back arms. But yeah, as you say, Tim seems to be much smoother as the shot is released.
Yeah, you saw Probilski at the beginning of the first 2 hours. The first one went into a 10 and he immediately went to just the sight. What's that about?
Yeah, well, you know, if you feel you've shot a great shot and it wasn't in the 10, then just tweak the sight if you need to. Just, you know, trying to get as close to the centre as you can.
Yeah, but he tweaked it. It was in the 10.
Well, even so, well, he might have even known that he aimed slightly in a different place. So, you know, just adjusting it as you can.
With the wind changing so much here in Antalya, it's hard to predict what they're going to do as we start end at number 3.
10.
Possibly a little bit of a conscious shot there with the thumb on the trigger. I mean, the difference here for me with Łukasz is, can you see his front shoulder just looks a bit high, and for me his shots look slightly imbalanced, that they're not lovely kind of releases through. Again there, did you see the kind of movement, front arm, back arm? There's a little bit of a twist almost in the body, so it's not quite balanced. And I think if he got that front shoulder down, he'd have better balance through his back.
Yeah, you see it here with Grindorf, the shoulders spread wide. He just tips up into the 9. That might go to a measure though, it looks like it has. Whereas it looks like the Pole's shoulders are actually squeezed together.
Yep, so you imagine the force of the bow sort of going up through his shoulder, almost towards his ear. That's kind of the direction of the line. Whereas if he could get that shoulder down, it then go more through his back, which would really help him out.
Still another 29 from the Pole. Potential 30 here, but he dragged that one. You saw him trying to pull it across there. And well, subject to the measure, the pair of them are on 85. What do you think about that 9, the second one from Griffendorf? It was awfully close to the line, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was too close to tell. We're going to have to wait for the judge to make the decision. If they need to there. She's got her magnifying glass. Yep, she's going to use it. Pretty close. Tend to look from both sides to make sure you can see a continuation of that black circle of the 10. If she thinks that it has touched the line, then it will be called up into the 10.
They're not mic'd up here, so we can't quite hear, so we have to wait. You see the agents change the scores at the bottom.
I have a feeling she's called it out because he's looking at it again. Maybe he disagrees, but we'll see what they put up on the scores.
Right. No. Sure, you're right, sorry. She has left it as an 85, and you're quite right to spot that the agent. Are you sure? Sure.
Many years ago, you used to be able to call another judge, and if that judge disagreed, you'd had a third and final judge, but they got rid of that. That was a bit too tedious in the end. It's just good to have one decision made, and that is final.
Probilski seeing the funny side of that one. They're on 85 apiece after 3 in this European bronze medal shoot-off in the individual men's compound event. German held a lead, but has been pegged back, so we'll shoot first. Doesn't seem phased by the score there, just cracking on. And I think they're listening to you again. It looks like Probilski's front shoulder is just down a little bit there.
Oh, another one really close. I think I would call that a 10, but it's going to have to be looked at again.
Yeah, that's going to go for a measure. Chance for the agent and the target judge to have another little chat. So, notionally all square.
Around in the wind, getting counted down.
Goes up into the 9. So chance for the lead for the first time here. He's put it into the 10. He's on a definite 114, Łukasz Przybylski. Now, the question is, how much can the German agent charm the judge into turning Krippendorf's second arrow from a 9 into a 10?
I'm not sure he charmed her last time, did he, with the really?
He didn't work last time, but you know, he's had some practice now. But in all seriousness, the second arrow, this is critical really, because the swing around here going into the final end is, well, could be the killer blow for Krippendorf. He looks cool, calm and collected. We shall see. Still twisting a bit.
Yeah, he just tried to make an adjustment, push that over to the right as the shot left.
He's nodding acknowledgement, something. Look, no emotion there at all. Just releases the arrow.
Some adjustments to be done.
He's going to crack on with it. The German coach looking down to see whether he can will that second arrow to be a 10. Przybylski looking very happy indeed.
It's a tight score.
I think they have marked it up, and I told you the practice that the German agent had with the target judge has worked. It's charmed him to making that a 10 for Krippendorf. A 29 for him means they're on 1-1-4 apiece, and this whole bronze medal for the European Championships will be decided in the final end, potentially. 3 arrows to go, end number 5, and it will be the German to shoot first.
Nine.
3 29s in a row for Przybylski for the last 3 ends. Not going to score more than that in this final end. They're all square.
Nine.
He looks calm, doesn't he? But just dropping low.
10.
Is that the killer blow? Krippendorf has got to put some pressure on here. Going through his process, eyes set on the target. He's into the 10, so a 28 to finish, 142 in total. A maximum for Łukasz Przybylski. It's on the line, and it is a 10. And look at the leap for joy from Łukasz Przybylski. He came from behind at just the right time, and he's taken European bronze, 143 to 142 over Tim Krippendorf of Germany.
Congratulations also for Tim Krippendorf making it through this bronze final.
Well, Nicky, after such a serious look on his face throughout, he's leaping around like a little boy there. Great to see that passion overflow.
Exactly that, yeah, just to see that emotion. That's how much it means to him to come away from this tournament with a European bronze medal. It's fantastic to see.
Well, it wasn't the prettiest of shooting at the beginning. Nicky went down and had a chat with him, and he got his front shoulder sorted out, and he managed to eke it over the line. Masks off for the obligatory photo shoot, and I'm sure those two are in a bubble anyway, so no worries between athlete and coach. Yes, they'll get their masks back on before mixing with the rest, and there is the judge coming in and saying, don't forget, put your mask on. And that's how these that's how these events are happening. The judges have this new responsibility to look after everyone, and essentially that is the role of the judge anyway.
Yeah, it's sport, isn't it? And being as responsible as we can, that we can continue in these times in the best way possible. Everyone understands that, and it's just part of the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look back on that match for bronze, there's a little trouble at the beginning for Łukasz. Polish archer not finding his way very quickly into the match. Krippendorf ticking away very neatly, and now that was The really minute adjustment made after having shot a 10. He immediately went to make the judgment, make the change, and there is the winning shot. Unbridled emotions coming out there. Time now to see who is going to take this year's European title for the compound men. We're going to see two teenagers go up against each other. Denmark's Fullerton against Turkey's Yildiz.
On target number 1, representing Denmark, Mathias Fullerton. On target number 2, representing Turkey, Jakub Yildiz. The line judge for these matches, Clement Cesar. And shooting first on target number 2.
Well, here we go. It's time to find out who is going to be this year's European champion for compound men. And it is a surprising lineup. World number 73, Jakub Yildiz. He's 18 years old. He's from the host nation, Turkey. He will be shooting first, and he's going to have the crowd right behind him. But he's up against someone who's just one rank higher in the world rankings. World number 72, Mathias Fullerton of Denmark, who is also 18. This is a glimpse into the future of compound men's archery. Wind affected, I think, that arrow from the Dane.
I would think so. Long hold as well. Perhaps a little bit of unbalance on the release.
Well, making a minor adjustment there, but I think you have to say that the wind has already become a factor here in this gold medal match, European title at stake. Positioning and grouping of those arrows very good, just a bit right of where they need to be.
Another big movement though before the shot went off, so I think it's a bit of an error on his part really. We'll just settle into the match and bring those in.
9.
Well, 27 is going to be enough to take it, but can Fullerton mitigate damage? He can with a 10. Back into the middle for him, and the Dane just trails by a single point here. Well, we've got nerves, we've got wind, and we've got a European title at stake. There's a lot of pressure here on these 18-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. Jakub is the only Turk to reach the finals as an individual. You can hear his delegation in the VIP seats there, giving him some support, and you know, I'm sure Matthias is fairly aware of that they all stood behind him, cheering on his opponent.
Well, I think now that they've got through this first end, they are settled. There's a great deal of joy competing on home soil, of course, but with it comes some pressure. On the other side of the shooting line, the Dane perhaps might be his agent a little bit. Well, where's my support? Well, and you know, these teams at the moment are still having to travel lean, aren't they? His coach is there, or certainly one of the team members in the box for him. At the start, then he's pulled away and got away. Mathias Fullerton with a 10 now, but I'm not quite sure how. Just a little bit more composure in that one.
Yeah, he looks just really solid, doesn't he? Whereas Matthias here, we can just see a little bit more nerves, a bit more movement. just not quite settled yet.
10. 10. 10.
Great perfect there in the end. He's managed to battle to that, certainly with the first arrow. Arrows 2 and 3 were solid, but this has been masterclass, really. Even though the same score, you have to say the composure that Jakob Yildiz shot that perfect 30 is incredible, and the Turkish conveyor belt producing all these brilliant archers seems to still be working.
Yeah, they train hard on this field, so he'll know the field well, he'll know the conditions here, which are very changeable, and he should feel pretty confident here.
Now, the conversation going on here between coach and judge, what do you think this can possibly be about?
Not entirely sure, to be honest with you. It's obviously some discussion about something, but there's nothing obvious that we saw that was a problem there.
No, fascinating, isn't it? That was a fairly in-depth conversation. Now let's take a look at whether we can see anything here. That, in fact, is Yildiz, and I think we're just getting the highlights of the match. Got close-ups of those scopes and all the state-of-the-art equipment these archers are using. Well, remains a mystery to know what the discussion between coach and the Danish coach and the line judge was, but it is Jakob Yildiz who's leading after 2 ends, and Matthias Fullerton will get us underway.
Really building up a nice group just on the left of the 10 there. Long hold, being counted down, but solid. Really wasn't happy with that. Again, perhaps a longer hold, just lost the balance on it. We were so zoomed in, couldn't quite see. But out into the 8.
9.
10. Struggling to get these arrows off into the 9 with that one. Dropping 3 points and really a chance Jakob to extend his lead.
Pushes it up into the 9, has extended that lead, but only by 2 points when there was an opportunity to push it by 3. But the pace of the matches has settled now. They've got just a little bit more into their rhythm.
Yeah, I think Matthias, though, he's still really struggling to make those shots go, and we've just seen him up there a little bit longer, shaking a little bit, so he just needs to really commit to them, really have confidence that that shot is going to go off, it's going to be okay, stick with it, but he's just struggling a little bit with his shooting back tension release aid. We saw him in Lausanne, didn't we? He made the final 4 at his first appearance of a World Cup, which was great to see. He did lose both those matches on that stage, so whether he's feeling a little bit less confident, you know, having had those 2 losses recently, just 2 weeks ago, you know, is he replaying in his mind what happened before, and he needs to pull himself out of that.
Yeah, but just 18 years old, so the more times he can appear here, there is the contingent you talked about. I think that's most of the team there, a few of the volunteers that have helped get this competition underway. Great for them to see a Turkish archer in the final. But yeah, for the pair of them, the more experience they can get on this field in the finals, the better it will be for their futures. And well, it is Yildiz who really does look like he's got a very, very promising future ahead of him. Perhaps a little bit sooner than Matthias Fullerton. Time for the 4th end, though. Fullerton to shoot first.
9. 10.
Extending his lead by another point.
10.
Bit of a longer hold, but gets the 10 and for another perfect score.
10.
Into the 10s. So the pair of them now showing what they can do. Fullerton just perhaps took a little bit longer to settle into this than Yildiz. That's why we're seeing potentially a 3-point lead. Another perfect from him. Slightly different from the one in the second end, but it has pushed him into a 3-point lead. And tremendous performance from, in particularly, Jakob Yildiz. Now, I have had a little nudge that the conversation between the Danish coach and the judge was actually a challenge about whether Yildiz was drawing too early. Now, first off, can you explain what that means? And secondly, why is that an advantage? Why is it an advantage that the coach would see that he wants to take and make a complaint about?
So these archers are shooting with 20 seconds on the clock. When they finish their time, the clock goes over to the other archer as they alternate. So if the archer's drawing too early, they're actually gaining more time. So instead of 20 seconds, perhaps they've got an extra second there of their time. So, you know, your coach is there to spot things in the box. You know, as an archer, you're there just to shoot your arrows. But if the coach notices, you know, there's a problem like that, then they can raise it with the judge as a concern. I think probably the outcome of that is the judge is going to be a bit more vigilant on what's happening, and if necessary, he could bring out a card. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens.
You certainly will. 3-point lead for Yildiz, who was the one facing the challenge. That's just Fullerton trailing will shoot first in this 5th end. 3-point gap is difficult to claw back in a single end. But Fullerton has a job to do, and that's to put it into the 10s and put his opponent under a bit more pressure. Oh, there's one of them back. Great grouping.
He's found his groove now. He's really, you know, got his confidence to make that release go off when he wants it to on that back tension.
Still holding on to that 2-point lead though, the Turkish archer. Perfect on. He's got the 29. So finishes with a 141 and 8 is what's required for the European title. Oh, the worst of the lot from him in his 15 arrows, but he did get the 8 he required, and Jakob Yildiz, at the age of 18, has become the European champion in his home country here in Antalya. What a brilliant performance, Jakob, the champion.
The hosting country.
Well, Yildiz has been threatening for a little bit, hasn't he? We've seen him show what he can do, mainly in team setup, but here he's come out and he's really performed way beyond his years.
Yeah, he just looks confident, doesn't he? He looks calm, controlled with those shots, and yeah, enough to take the win here today.
Yeah, superb performance. A little bit unsettled from Matthias Fullerton, who we have seen their confirmation that Jakob Yildiz has taken the title. Took a while to settle in, and then a bit of a distraction. The coach complaining about the opponent perhaps drawing early. I think that didn't help things, but then he settled in and showed what he can do. And perhaps the next time we see him on the podium, he'll just be that little bit more settled.
Yeah, he was really struggling to get those shots to go off, just holding a bit too long, trying with the back tension to make it happen, and starting to shake. And as we saw through the ends, he really got on top of that. He got his confidence back. He shot some ends there that we know he can do. So this is all experience, and we are going to see him again in the future.
Yeah, certainly are. I think we're going to see a lot of both of these archers. But it's Jakub Yildiz who will be standing on top of the podium as the European champion a little bit later on. We talked about the groove that you need to get into when you get to these podium matches. It took Fullerton just a little bit too long to make him a realistic threat. Just couldn't find his way, but look at the calmness here from the 18-year-old Turkish archer. Proof that the factory that produces these archers here in Turkey is working very well indeed. Strong relationship clearly between coach and athlete. Let's go and speak to the European champion.
Öncelikle tebrik ederim. Çok heyecanlı olmalısın. Takımdan sonra bireyselde de altın madalya kazandın. Neler hissediyorsun?
Ya şu an gerçekten çok güzel oldu. Takımdan sonra da böyle bir bireysel dereceye ulaşmam. Şu an acayip heyecanlandım zaten. Yarışmada da belli olmuştur eminim çizgide. Ama cidden çok güzel bir mutluluk oldu benim için bu.
Yarışma gergin başladı. Hava koşulları senin atışlarını nasıl etkiledi?
Evet, ilk başta antrenman sahasına göre nişangahımız biraz değişti rüzgarın şiddetinden dolayı da. Ama hemen tecrübemizden dolayı geri toparlayıp normal bir şekilde atışımıza geri döndük.
Çok genç bir yaşta Avrupa şampiyonu oldun. Bu senin için ne ifade ediyor?
Bu benim için çok onur verici bir duygu açıkçası. Şu an ciddi bir yarışma kazandım. Yani çok güzel oldu bu genç yaşta bu dereceyi elde etmem. O yüzden şu an çok mutluyum yani. Çok düzgün de cümle kuramıyorum.
Tekrardan çok tebrik ederiz.
Çok teşekkürler.
Well, again, my Turkish letting me down there, but I mean, Nicky, it's fabulous when any home nation athlete wins on home soil, but winning the European title on home soil at the age of 18, he's already going to be a superstar in Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many more goals to go for. We're going to see him more on the World Cup circuits, and he's going to want more medals after this, so I think it's just going to make him more hungry.
Yeah, certainly is, and let's hope we see more of Matthias Fullerton as well, because he looks the real deal as well. Just took a little while longer to settle into that gold medal match, but the star of today for this individual competition has to be Jakub Yildiz. Now it's time for the victory ceremony for the compound men. Been a brilliant day of archery here on Compound Saturday. This is the last of the medal ceremonies.
Medals will be presented by Mr. Abdullah Topaloğlu, President of Turkish Archery Federation.
President of the Turkish Archery Federation will be crowning
Bronze medal,
his
presenting
compatriot,
Poland,
18-year-old
Łukasz
compatriot, as the
Przybylski.
European title winner. Łukasz Przybylski came through a challenging bronze medal match against the German Tim Krippendorf. Came from behind, pipped his opponent at the post. Polish archer
Silver
gets
medal,
a bronze medal
representing
for his
Denmark,
efforts.
Matthias Fullerton.
It took a while to settle into the final for this young man, but the 18-year-old Dane Matthias Fullerton has taken European silver, something he can be very proud about, and there's absolutely more to come from him.
Gold medal and European champion, representing Turkey, Jakub Yildiz.
Well, he was itching to jump up onto the top step of the podium. He remembered he had to wait until he heard his name. 18-year-old Jakub Yildiz from Turkey has taken his first senior European title here on home soil, and it was a tremendous performance, a well-deserved European title for Jakub Yildiz. And it's time to celebrate with his anthem. Well, brilliant archery here in Antalya, as we've come to expect. Wind playing its part throughout the day, but here's confirmation of our medalists here in the compound men's. Jakob Yildiz taking the European title on home soil, beating another teenager, Matthias Fullerton of Denmark, who has got lots to come, I'm sure. And it's Łukasz Pobilski of Poland who has taken the bronze medal. Well, Nikki, it's been a fabulous day here. We've coming to an end. We've had our final celebrations. Here are the rankings for the final standings effect for the European Championships. Jakob Yildiz from Matthias Fullerton of Denmark, and Łukasz Pobilski beating Krippendorf of Germany in the bronze medal match. But Nikki, any particular highlights from this session?
Yeah, for me, Tanya Galantine, you know, coming out at 147 to take another gold medal on the circuit this year. Fantastic. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant performance from the Inform compound women's archer. And we saw through these semi-finals, yes, in Boston there, looking like she was just trying to find her form. But in the end, it was Galantine who came through. And this is obviously looking at the mixed recurve team finals, which we saw a little bit earlier on today. Bit of wildlife, a bit of everything here on Compound Saturday. Mixed team gold to Belgium. Tanya Galantine taking the compound women's title. The Dane getting her form back again after winning in Lausanne. And Jakob Yildiz of Turkey taking gold for the home nation in the compound men's. A brilliant day. Join us tomorrow for Recurve Sunday.
Changing winds in intensity.